into my head.
What's up? It's another wealthy day in the neighborhood. Thank you so much for choosing to be my wealthy neighbors, man. I'm excited. Thank you. Welcome. I'm excited about this episode. It's the ninth episode of Wealth Talk TV, and I'm really looking forward to you guys basically hearing the conversation that I had with a musical artist, king, leader, and just a role model within his own right, Smokey Vintage. He's going to come on and he's just going to give us an idea of some of the things that he's learned on his wealth journey, some of the things that he's seen, as well as just his overall experience. So, really ecstatic about that. If this is your first time coming to Wealth Talk TV, I just want to again welcome you. And outside of that, just tell you a little bit about Wealth Talk TV. Wealth Talk TV is all about candid conversations that's discussing purpose, adversity, legacy, and wealth, as well as just having different conversations with different individuals who are actually on their wealth journey, pursuing after purpose, and figuring out what is it that they know, and basically how can we use some of the information that they've gained on their own journey and apply it to our own so that we're all in a space where we're becoming successful and growing as a team, as a unit, as a generation, and pushing our lives forward for our successors and those to come after us, creating something that outlives us. So gonna bring him on and guys can eavesdrop on that conversation as well. Quick announcement: this weekend, July 4th and 5th, I'll be in Old Town Portland at Produce Portland actually for the street fair, and Wolf Fashion will be there, and we're going to be doing our legacy work this weekend as well. So if you're in Portland, swing by and just come and have a conversation with me. We can chop it up, talk about legacy, talk about wealth, talk about some of the things that you've learned on your own purpose, your own wealth journey, or you can come and grab some merch. And if not, visit the website www.wealthoutlives.com. All right. I'm doing pretty good, pretty good. Thank you so much for deciding to be on the episode today. Wealth Talk TV, you actually episode 9. How you what's going on? What you been doing since the virus?
I've been doing a lot of working on music stuff and
Mm-hmm.
trying to been doing a lot of working as far as trying to keep income, right? Because that's been crazy for everybody. So
Right,
um,
right, right. That's what's up. That's what's
pretty
up.
much been
That's what's up. I heard that you moved into your new spot. Congratulations.
appreciate it. Yep. Been here about a month now. Yep.
Okay, cool, cool. So you comfortable. You done got adjusted a little bit.
Yeah. I'm finally got settled in now.
Dope, dope. That's what's up. Cool. So we're gonna kick it off with go ahead and tell the people your name and your purpose.
Cool. I'm Smokey Vintage, and my purpose is to bring message and intellect through music, but not also through music, also just through conversation as well. So yeah.
Dope, dope. That's what's up. And how are you going through the process of fulfilling your purpose, or how did you find your purpose? Rather, let me ask that question.
Um. Well, as far as the music side, that's of course always been a passion of mine. I would say actually finding my purpose in it though, as far as I know exactly what I want to do and how I want to do it. I would say that probably came at about, I want to say about 14. So
Okay,
about what, 8 years ago, something like that.
okay. That's what's up. That's what's up. And so you said that you fulfill it through music and through conversation.
Yep.
Dope, dope, dope.
So,
So what's
so
like what's your day to day intellect like, or your dialogue like with this music? What's your favorite subject rather?
ooh, what's my favorite subject? Um, I don't know if I have a necessarily specific favorite subject, but
Mm-hmm.
as far as I would say, um, just an overall general,
Mm-hmm.
I would say just anything that's real life based or
Okay.
real life experience based, something like that.
Okay. Cool. Cool. And what were some of the adversities that you experienced on your wealth journey that has gotten you to this point?
Uh, it's been a lot. But I just keep it short though.
Mm-hmm.
One of my very first adversities I faced as far as just trying to pursue my purpose is just really getting people to help me out or people to show me how to do things. That's one thing I never really had. I always looked for a mentor or some type of guidance and stuff like that. And I would have people who would probably show me something for an amount of time, but then after a while, it just kind of just fade away. So
Gotcha.
I never actually had a chance to really develop fully with the mentor side. But what I would say the good part about that is it pushed me to learn how to do more stuff on my own. So
Dope.
that would be yeah.
Dope, dope. That's what's up. And a lot of times, like especially when you don't really have like a real point of reference when it comes to like whatever your gift is, it
Mm-hmm.
seems as though the mentors they just come in different times to just get you good enough to a specific level, and then once you
Right.
get enough to that point, then kind of start like shifting or becoming better, you know, as you grow or continue to matriculate on your journey. But
Mm-hmm.
that's what's up. So tell me about like, so how many years you been doing this? You said as far as music is concerned.
With music all my life, but
Mm-hmm.
actually doing it as a artist and producer, I would
Mm-hmm.
say it's been probably well over 10 years, about 12 years, I would say.
Where so tell me kind of sort of like what was the intro like with you trying to basically grasp that traction and that energy that is attracted to your music or your purpose. What exactly was that
You said
beginning stage for you?
okay. That beginning stage, first I had to find exactly um what sound I wanted to push or
Mm-hmm.
what type of image or really what type of artist was I going to be, because in the beginning I definitely didn't know. Even from my first project that I put out, it was all over the place. It wasn't really cohesive at all because I was trying to fit everything in that I knew how to do. So one track would be extra super R&B-ish, and the next
Mm-hmm.
track after that I'm going super hard on bars and whatnot. So it was like during that time nobody really knew where to put me, so which kind of made it hard for a lot of people to really attract to me or connect me because they didn't really know like where I was coming from or really what was my message or what type of artist I was. So that was the beginning stages of it. And then
Mm-hmm.
after a while, after I really started to develop my identity as an artist and what my sound, what my message was, that's when it kind of became a little bit more easy. And I started to realize, even for me, what my audience was and what my demographic was. Because in the beginning, I feel like every artist, they want everybody to be their demographic. And you
Right.
have to come to the realization of everybody's not going to like what you do. Everybody's not going to love it. But also, too, everybody's not going to hate it either. So it's like
True.
you have to find who you do it for. And so that was something that I had to do. And so and behold, I realized that my audience was more of a mature audience, more of the 25 and old crowd. Like I have more of the youngins that listen to my music, but it's a little bit too mature for them. So, and which I get it. Like I can't, I'm not going to change that for nobody because it's not me to make, that
Right.
watered. I don't even want to say watered down because I don't want to diss what nobody else is doing. But yeah, you know what I mean.
Right, right. You gotta be in a space to, like you said, figure out who your people are, and you basically in a space where you're talking to them with the things that you say
Right.
resonate with them. So it's not good or bad on anything outside of what you do. It's just finding your lane. Dope, dope.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes down to like, because you said that you went through like several different transitions when it came
Mm-hmm.
to down to that beginning stage, what were some of the steps that you took when you started to basically cultivate your artistry and you figured out what lane you're supposed to be in, but now I got to
Mm-hmm.
get to a point where I'm producing in that area more? What was that
Mm-hmm.
experience like for you? Does that make sense? Did that question make sense?
So pretty much you're saying like once I found my direction and
Right.
whatnot, what was that process after finding it?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, I would say for one, it became a whole lot easier and a whole lot more clear for me to um plan out what I wanted to do or what exactly path as far as marketing,
Mhm.
promoting, or even my image or how I wanted my videos to look and stuff like that, it became a whole lot more easier because it's like now I had a blueprint rather than me just trying a whole bunch of different stuff out.
Okay.
And
Did you
yeah,
develop
and I
that
feel like too,
blueprint? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but did you
you
develop
good?
that imprint blueprint before you got to your cultivation stage, or it was like kind of sort of while you was going through
Yeah, it was kind of like while I was going through it, where
it?
I was able to develop it and everything like that. Because I feel like within all of that, within finding myself as an artist, it was really just me also finding myself as a person, as a man.
Mm-hmm.
Because even just in the beginning of my artistry, of course, I was a teenager, so I wasn't fully developed yet as a person, or my
Right.
thoughts, what my intellect was, what I want out of life, what I don't want out of life. And so I feel like a lot of that stuff, it really just came with like just getting older, really, because I would say I didn't really find my true artistry, or even just my true self for real, until about 2 years ago or 3 years ago. That's when I really figured out, like, okay, like it's like I knew who I was, but
Right.
now I really know exactly, like, okay, this is the direction I'm taking. This is what I don't want in life. This is what I don't want. This is what I want in music. This is what I don't want. So it's like I said, once I figured that out, it was just easier for me to kind of just walk it out a little bit, and it was also way faster than, like I said, trying to figure things out.
Okay, gotcha. So it's at first, like the first stage is kind of like you throwing a whole bunch of paint at the canvas and
Right.
basically seeing what sticks. And then
Mm-hmm.
the second stage is like once you kind of know what stick or know what you throw kind of creates, then honing in, like kind of like chiseling it a little bit more to make it more refined.
Right.
Dope. Did
It's
you do all of that on your own, or did you have people that kind of like showed you things on how to go about doing it? To like how did you even get to a space where you knew what steps to take?
Um, I would say it was a mixture of both. I did some of it on my own, but I had other people. But I don't even think that the other people knew that they was pulling things out of me, because it wasn't necessarily like I was um, asking for any advice or opinion on anything, but
Mm-hmm.
it would just be the advice or opinion that I got from things that I put out.
Mm-hmm.
So, um,
It'd be
or
like
even just
something that
talking
you
to
needed.
people a lot of
Yeah.
times. Right. And it's like even just talking to people, sometimes people will just tell you what type of person they see that you are, or what type of artist they see you as, or what type of business person they see you as. And sometimes when you're just talking to people, they'll tell you things that they see in you that you might be like, now that you say that, I noticed that. You know what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So like for me, I would say one of the biggest things for me that I noticed about what I knew about myself, but I wasn't really paying attention to, that other people really brought to attention for me, was just the fact of me being a person that like plush things. Like I like to wear suits, and
Mm-hmm.
I like to just be real, like, I don't know, like I said, just like real plush looking and
Right,
whatnot.
right, right.
Not like bougie or nothing like that,
Right.
but I just like
Suave.
to be real suave.
Right.
Yeah. And so from that, like, because like one thing I will say, for me, what I was trying to run away from with my image and stuff like that was just being the whole pretty boy,
Mm-hmm.
soft boy. I didn't want to be that. And so,
Gotcha. Did you feel
but what I
like
what I
you conveyed that, or did you feel like you conveyed that in that during that time frame?
um yeah, I did. And but
Okay.
and the thing about it is, I knew that like, yeah, to an extent, that's a part of me, because I like the whole suave stuff, whatever. But I also have an edginess to me as well. And so
Gotcha.
it's like I had to figure out, how do I balance that out and whatnot. And so like I said, once people brought that to my attention and whatnot, that's when I started to think, okay, like maybe I should dress up more. Even though a lot of people in hip hop, they don't dress up unless it's the Grammys or something like that. But it's
Right.
like, maybe that's my difference from everybody else. Everybody else can do the white tees and things. I still dress like that. I mean, look what I got on right now. I ain't even
Yeah, it
dressed up
makes
right
sense.
now, but
Right.
just as far as my main image, a lot of times I tried to run away from that, because I didn't want people to be like, oh, he's too suited and booted or whatever
Oh,
the case.
gotcha.
But it's like, if I didn't do that, I wouldn't be Smokey Vintage. So it's like I had to hound those things in, but also bring it into my music as well.
Gotcha. So one of the things that I do notice as far as like, it seems like with anything like an artist or when you figuring out who your other side is, it's like you matriculate through different names. You know, it seems like
Mm-hmm.
every musical artist or anybody that has a better known as, their name kind of transitions, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
what steps occurred that made it go from who you identified as to Smokey Vintage?
Um, ooh, that's a good question. All right, so um, uh, for a lot of people who been following me since before the name change,
Right.
I just went by Quay Mills. Was just short for my actual name,
Mm-hmm.
and I changed that for a couple of reasons. One being it's a lot of rappers with Mills in their name, so I just
Gotcha.
didn't want to fall into the whole Mills thing,
Gotcha.
and I just felt like too, just me as an artist, I was changing a whole lot. And as far as the things that I presented as Quay Mills, it was kind of like I was transitioning from that into something else. And so I was really just kind of thinking about what changes I needed to make. And I knew one of those changes was gonna have to be the name.
Mm-hmm.
And so how I even came up with Smokey Vintage is it really kind of came to me randomly. And then after it came to me, I started to realize the reasons why I guess it rung a bell in my head and
Mm-hmm.
whatnot. But for one, I felt like the name, it kind of just went with the whole image, just everything I just, explained about the whole suave thing and
Right.
whatnot. Like I feel like Smokey Vintage can kind of go within the same lines as like a Rico Suave or something
Right.
like that.
Right. Right. Right.
And so then also too, the other meaning behind it is just like how like if smoke comes into a room
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, it can kind of overtake the room.
Right.
And so with me spelling vintage like vent instead of rather than just like vintage as an old school and something like that, even though it has that meaning to it too as well.
Right.
But the meaning that I'm talking about now is just like me venting into the room, like putting my vibe into it. That's pretty much where I kind of got Smokey Vintage from. And then alongside being a smoker too. So all those things, like pulling all that together, that's how I came up with it.
Okay. So okay. So nice. So let's say, what were some of the difficulties, after you transition, uh, getting the crowd to kind of like grow with you and get into a certain place where now your music is being resonated with people? What
Mm,
what was what was that phase like? How did you get to that
um,
point, or get through it rather?
okay. I say, in the beginning, a lot of people, I ain't gonna say a lot of people, but a couple of people didn't really want to accept the whole transition because some people know that I started rapping at all. I started to bring rap into it. A lot of people wanted me to just stick with singing. But
Gotcha.
then once a lot of people heard me rapping, a lot of people wanted me to stick with rapping. And
Gotcha.
so, but the thing is, what I had to convey to a lot of people, and still sometimes even today have to convey to some people, is that I didn't start rapping just because everybody rapping now, or because I think it's cool, or because I want to fit in. I started doing it because I can't sing every message that I have, just as well as I can't rap every message I have. So it's
Right.
like, okay, I can't sing this one the way I want to, so I'm gonna have to rap it, or I can't rap this one the way I want to, so I got to sing it. So that was one of the things. And but once I continued to do it consistently, because I had to, that's another thing too, I had to just build the respect of people actually knowing, like, oh, he can actually rap. Like, he actually got bars. He's not just a singer who trying to step into this lane. Like, no, he actually put it together in a very lyrical way.
Mm.
And so it was that battle of just proving to people that I actually can rap.
Right.
And then also too, I had to learn to be more honest in my music. Like, because at first I didn't want to curse. I didn't want to talk about smoking.
Right.
None of that. Those are two main things I stayed away from. I stayed away from cursing. I stayed because, I mean,
You were
just
hiding
coming
a
from the
piece of
church back.
yourself. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah,
and it's
yeah.
like coming from the church background, I ain't want to ruin all of that stuff and whatnot. But I just
It's
had to
so
come to the
difficult.
realization of,
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like I came to the realization of where I was just like, well, this is my reality. Like I can't live my life through other people's lives, and a lot of people who I'm trying to impress or hide stuff from, they doing stuff too, and they doing probably stuff worse than what I'm doing anyway. And so
Right.
it's like when I came to that conclusion, I was just like, I got to be more honest, and that made my music better when I was more honest about everything. And
Right.
so, yeah.
Dope, dope. So go back to when you said earning respect when it comes
Mm-hmm.
down to your, because a lot of, even with product or whatever brand, there's a level of credibility that you have to establish and kind of like get a track record for. So could you explain your experience with establishing a track record with your audience?
Yeah. I would say how I did it was first off, I guess consistency, like continuing to do it so that for one, they know that like, oh, this ain't just
A
one
fly
time
by
he's gonna be
night.
doing this,
Right.
right? Yeah, he's gonna continue to do it. That, but also two, making sure that the quality of what I'm doing is getting better too, and making sure that it wasn't just at a surface level and
Right.
whatnot. Because of course, when I first started, like I listen to my old stuff now, especially my old raps, and I'd be like, oh my God, like, who is this person? I don't know what. I thought I
Right.
was snapping, but when I
Right.
listen to them, like I was not snapping. But but even through those times, just
I was
over the
gonna say,
time,
do
you
you?
said what now?
I was gonna say, do you throw your own stuff away sometimes?
Yeah, definitely. I either I throw it away or I figure out a way to just make it better before I put it out there and whatnot. But
Gotcha.
it's a lot of my old stuff that I just don't listen to at all no more because
Yeah.
it's too cringy. But as far as just getting people to really, I guess, catch on to it, like I said, the consistency, but also too, getting better over time with it. And how I got better was just other people who I looked up to as far as other rappers, other lyricists, kind of studying them and just different skill sets that they had and things like that. But also too, just practicing, just turning on the beat and freestyling, or just rapping with other rappers and stuff like that. Getting with other people who I feel like either on my level or better than me. It's kind of like a sparring partner, like
Right.
in martial arts and whatnot. Getting with other people who is either at your skill set or a little bit higher than you is always gonna make you better. And yeah, so that's pretty much how I did it.
Dope, dope. That's what's up. That's really good that you talk about having a sparring partner, because if nothing else, you can be able to bounce ideas and bounce energies off. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask, like, how many times did your sparring partner change? And I know that it's not really a numerical number that one can really
Mm-hmm.
put in that space, but
Mm-hmm.
just more along the lines of trying to figure out uh, how often or how valuable that you do you think that having different people, because a lot of times we just try to stick with our own circle as opposed
Mm-hmm.
to branching out. But how consistent would you advise one to change or to get new partners?
Um, I would say, well, first, as far as my sparring partners, I probably have had, I say I probably had about a good 3 or 4.
Okay.
It was one in particular that definitely made me better though, as an artist overall and as a rapper, and
Okay.
that's my homie Taz.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Full Sail with him. He was actually my roommate at Full Sail, and so when we got together, he was already rapping way before I was and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
he taught me everything as far as the difference between metaphors, punchlines, delivery, cadence. Like I didn't know nothing about none of that.
Right.
I thought flow was just it. Like you just
Right.
got your flow and that's it. But he even explained to me just all the different stuff. But even just it's like what we would do is we'll have like the little word search thing, and we'll pull it up on the internet. We'll play a beat, and we'll just keep clicking the word search. And we got to wrap this, like, okay, you wrap something off this word or whatever. Then I'm going to click this one. Then it's your turn. Then you got to wrap something off that word or whatever. And so we
Right.
would do that a lot of times too. And as far as the other sparring partners I had, like, we was mostly just like recording a lot of stuff together.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of got me more used to just being in that recording process, but also in the writing process too. We would bounce ideas off each other as far as songs and stuff like that. So I would just say for anybody who just looking for that sparring partner, it's not even really a thing where you can look for it. It's something that just kind of like it
Comes at
happens.
you.
Like
Gotcha.
y'all both in y'all purpose or whatever, and not to make it as like a relationship, but in a way it kind of is. It's kind of like a
It's
relationship.
all
Like
relationship. It
it's
doesn't
like
matter like intimacy, even a friendship.
mhm,
It's a ship. It's a relationship. So yeah.
exactly. And so it's kind of like just like with an actual like with an intimate relationship or a romantic relationship, it's not something that you can force. It's something that just kind of just come together. Y'all might be in the same place or whatever. Y'all might share the same interests and y'all connect off of that, and then y'all grow from there. So it's the same thing when it comes to sparring partners or working with people in music or whatever type of business you in. Sometimes y'all are just both within y'all purpose, and just within that y'all end up connecting with each other.
Dope, dope, dope. So you've been a indie artist for how many years?
As long as I started, so about 12 years.
About 12 years. Okay, cool. So when it comes down, because the indie game is like a little difficult, is it not?
Yes, very difficult. Very difficult.
I can believe it. So what have been like when it comes down to like your all-time high adversity that you experienced that you knew was like the most difficult portion, but then you also figured out how to do it. What is that and how did you remedy
Okay. I would say I got two answers for that actually.
it? Okay.
Because all right, so the most difficult things I have found about being independent is the finances and the budget.
Mm-hmm.
Because of course, if you sign to a major, like they take care of all of that. I mean, they do, but you have to hold them on the back end. So,
Right, right.
but they take care of that, which you can get things done a whole lot faster. So that's another thing within it is like with the budget, it takes up a whole lot more time to do stuff because you don't have the money right then and there to just be like, boom. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
that would be one thing I would say. The other thing that I would say was a challenge is, I guess, the following, figuring out how to grow the following. Also, too, with not having as big of a following, how to get people to still attract to it. Because sometimes people just look at your numbers and think that's your worth or that's your value, and not
Mm-hmm.
realizing like this is just the beginning stages, or everybody just don't know about it yet, which is why the numbers are low. It's not the fact of it's not good or
Mm-hmm.
whatever the case may be. So I would say those was like the things that I struggled with in the beginning and whatnot. But what I would say, how I kind of overcame, because those are still things that I'm still trying to figure out a little bit more, but I have kind of got a grasp on it. So how I did that was first with the finances. I mean, it's just like with anything else. Like if you're gonna save, you gotta save. Like you can't make no excuses about it. And it's like with your career, whatever it is that you want to do in life, you got to put that money aside for it. Yeah, you want to go out. Yeah, you want to buy clothes. Yeah, you want to do this, and that. But it's like, what do you want the most? Do you want
Right,
this momentary? You want this Saturday night this bad, or do you want the rest of your life to be good? You know what I'm
right,
saying?
right.
You want to make residual income or whatever. So it's like making those decisions too, because within that is another struggle. It's like you gotta tell a lot of friends you ain't going out this night, or sometimes you got to tell yourself no. Like, yeah, I want to get this, or I want to go out this place, but I want to go on vacation. Just like me, I had to skip about a good 2-3 years of vacation just because
Right.
I knew what I was trying to do. And I feel like also that comes from watching a lot of Gary Vee. Him always talking about skipping vacations.
Right.
And so But I would say that's kind of how I got more of a hold on the finances and being able to put money into it. I just had to make the decision of I got to start putting this money away. And then once I start doing that, start making a plan to do it and trying to figure out more ways to get income to go into it. And also too, which is I feel like a thing that a lot of artists need to start putting their mindset in is that stop waiting for people to pay for stuff for you. Stop waiting for people to give you an opportunity. Do it yourself, because the longer you wait for somebody else to do it, it's either gonna get done way years down the line, and where you got to play catch up, or it's gonna get done fast, but you're gonna end up owning them anyway, or it's just never gonna get done. Right. And so it's like I had to get into that mindset of stop waiting for an opportunity and become my opportunity. And so sense. Yeah, because a lot of times what I see a lot of artists do is they'll put a limit on the price tag for themselves. So it's like they'll go out and ask how much you charge for this or how much you do this, and because it's a certain price tag, they won't do it, but they'll go do something else that costs just as much as that, but that's not as important as what they're doing. So you don't want to pay $500 for your mixing and mastering or for your promotion, but you want to get the new J's though. I mean, if that's what you want to do,
right,
do it. Just understand the decision that you're making. So yeah, I would say that's one thing. Yeah.
So it's important. It's definitely, there's no way around the fact that you have to have money and invest in yourself. You have to spend the money to invest in yourself, because if you don't spend the money to invest in yourself, then it honestly, you just end up thinking about a thing and it gets created by somebody else, and you be mad that somebody else gets to take advantage of that. And then you said, like,
exactly.
What was like, how did you overcome the following portion?
Following. All right. So the following thing, first, I had to stop looking at my own numbers. Like, I still look at my numbers, but I had to stop caring so much about the numbers, because that's the only way you're going to continue to keep going. Because if you keep looking at the numbers and you see like, oh, well, I only got this many views on this, or I only got this many likes on this, it'll discourage you or to make you start to switch up your plan a little bit. Sometimes it's not even the fact of where it's not just having put it work for you. It kind of goes back to what I was saying about the whole building the respect thing. And so I would say that was part of doing it. And also too, now one thing about it now, a good thing now is that you can pay for promotions and you can pay for all these ads and stuff like that, so you can get your stuff seen by more people. And that kind of goes back into my first point about the finances and your budget and stuff like that. Because if you got your budget together, the bigger your promotion can be, your ad can be. You can put $500 on the ad or $1,000, even if it's not that much, even if it's just like $200 or $100 or something like that. You could put something on it to possibly gain that following back. And so I would say that's one thing that I was able to do to start to overcome that, is just paying for those ads. But also within paying for those ads, you got to make sure whatever money you put in behind it, you want to make sure that you're at least confident enough that this piece of content is going to bring people back to me, because not every piece of content is going to bring people back. So you got to know, like, this is one of my big projects. I know this one to do good, or this one of my big videos. So let me put a nice little 300 on this, or a nice little 500 on this, and see what type of return I get from it. So yeah, that's kind of how I did it.
How did you determine what was worth being invested in? How did you determine that this was like a big thing, or this is something that people rocked with?
For one, if I connect with it a whole lot and I connect with it very fast and whatnot, I kind of feel like the people will too. And sometimes, that's not always the case. Sometimes it might just be you and your own artist head, and because you made it, you think it's good. But it's even stuff that I make myself that I don't connect with that much, and I know other people won't connect with. So even to that point, it'd be the ones of my content that I can't stop watching this video over and over again, or I can't stop listening to this song over and over again. Like, the chances are higher with those that I feel like I'll be like, yeah, I can put something behind this one, because this one seems like the one that I'm even feeling the most. But also too, going back to the whole sparring partner or having people within your circle, I would let other people listen to the stuff and just see how they react. But sometimes what I would do so that people don't give me a biased opinion, I won't ask them straight up, like, hey, listen to this, tell me what you think about it. I just put a song in a regular mix. So I put my song in a mix with Drake and Kendrick or the Baby, whoever. I just put my song within that mix. Won't tell them whose song it is.
Right.
And if I can get them to ask, who is this?
Right.
That means I got something. Because it's like, I didn't tell you listen to this, and then I just let it play. And so if I can get you to ask what's the name of this song or who is this, then I know, like, yeah, this might be something that connect with everybody.
Dope. Okay, cool. So when it comes down to basically getting to a point with monetizing, because a lot of times a lot of people have a hard time with monetizing their art. What were some of the steps that you took to make sure that you could start to see some type of traction from it?
Right. One of the first things I did was
Am I getting in your business too much? Let me
oh no.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's good. It's good.
Okay, cool.
But one of the first things I did was I got became a part of like the streaming services for Spotify, Apple Music and stuff. Because before I was just putting my stuff on SoundCloud, and I think now SoundCloud has a way where you can get paid from it, but I'm not really sure on all of that. And I know it's definitely not as detailed and as legitimate as just putting it on, like I said, Tidal or Spotify or Apple Music and stuff like that. And so that was one of the things I did. And then also too, of course, getting like the publishing and stuff like that with BMI and stuff like that, or you know, people can get it with ASCAP as well, and CSAC, but I'm with BMI, so just pretty much getting that stuff done as well, because I feel like every artist should get their publishing and all of that stuff together, because that's really the main point of how you get your income from your stuff being played on the radio, or it's being played at the club, or wherever it's being played at. Like, your publishing is going to take care of all of that stuff.
Gotcha.
So that was one of the main things. And the next thing I'm working on is getting my LLC. That's one of the things I've been working on doing for a while. And so, and I know a lot of musicians and stuff, they may not see the point in doing it, but thing is, it's just like with any other business. Any things that you get or any purchases that you make, you can make as a write-off. So if you get studio equipment, that can be a write-off. If you get stuff done for your video, that can be a write-off, all that type of stuff. So just making things more legitimate and stuff like that. So I would say all of those different things is how I've been going about making sure the income and the revenue is good.
Dope. So talk a little bit about, because I see that you're doing producing as well as music videos. So what exactly occurred to shift you to be more on the back end of things as opposed to in the forefront as you have been?
That kind of goes back to I guess earlier when I was talking about how I couldn't really get anybody to help me with stuff or show me anything. Now with production, that was the main one where I could not get no help. Because in the beginning, I was trying to find somewhere to record. I was trying to find some beats. I was trying to find people to write for me, because I wasn't even writing for myself in the beginning. And so all of that stuff, it either was going to cause me an arm and a leg to get, or people just wasn't finna help me do it. And so from there, that's when I started, like I said, doing the stuff on my own as far as making beats and stuff like that. And I started doing that like in high school, because we had the music tech class at school. And so from there, they started teaching us how to make beats. So I guess I did have somewhat of, being taught that or whatever. So from there, that was like the beginning point of me to start making beats and stuff like that. We started learning how to use GarageBand, which is one of the softwares and whatnot. So from there, started recording and stuff, started making my own stuff, and then just kind of got better over time, and looking at videos on YouTube as far as how to do and, how to do it yourself videos and stuff like that. Now with making videos, I had a video guy at first, but he dropped the ball so much that I had to fire him. And once I fired him, that's when I was like, I'm just going to buy me a camera myself and figure out how to do all this stuff. Because I was like, if he can figure it out, I can figure it out myself. Because he was dropping the ball so much. It's like, yeah, I know if he can do it, I can definitely do it. And so that's kind of where that came from. It's just him dropping the ball so much, me being fed up, and then being like, all right, I'll do it myself. Because at first I didn't want to shoot my own videos or nothing like that, because I just felt like it'd be too much work to do. But
Right, right. Does it sometimes feel like, as far as with the indie stage, like with any other, gift that you have, that it seems like you're always doing it by yourself?
Yeah, definitely. And I definitely have I got two other people who might help me out here and there and whatnot, which is my homie Gavin and my homie Taz, who I talked about earlier. But as far as just trying to carry the weight of just doing all of this stuff,
Right.
like, yeah, a lot of times I do feel like I'm just doing it on my own. Which because I am really, I really don't have I've got no strict team or no management, no nothing like that. So from creating the music to the image to planning it out to promoting it, that's literally all me by myself. So yeah,
That's dope. So I will say this, that for some reason, I don't know why, when it comes down to this vision thing, it's like we definitely feel like no one is helping us carry it, but at the same time, it's kind of like can't nobody else see what you saw. So since no one can see what you saw, you have to be in a space of bringing it to fruition. And if nothing else, you'll be able to see what you saw and you like it, or you'll be able to see what you saw and dislike it and know that you need to go a different avenue. But
right.
dope. So been given a lot of insight, great feedback. So I don't want to hold you too much longer. So I want to say about 2 more questions for you, and that'll be it. So what does your legacy work look like for you?
Ooh, that's a deep question there. I would say my legacy work, what I want to leave behind in my legacy is it's a couple of things. Definitely want to leave some great art behind, with some meaning to it, but within that as well, one of the main things that I've been thinking about lately, but even just prior to just lately, is trying to really represent the Black excellence within what I'm doing. That's definitely something that I want to leave behind. And I'm not saying that it's not enough. I'm not saying it's not any Black excellence in hip hop or within our culture, nothing like that. I just don't feel like it's enough. Gotcha. I feel like a lot of times we glorify the ignorant stuff a little bit too much, which is why we end up in a lot of same situations that we end up in, because we don't realize how much we celebrate ignorant stuff as opposed to Black excellence. We'll celebrate Black excellence, but not as much as we do other stuff. We only do it when in times like right now and in February. You know what I'm saying? But other than that, do we really be pro-Black like that? No, we don't, just to be real. So we pro family. Now I know that's another whole nother conversation. So I'm gonna get back to the main point. But that's one of the main things I wanna
say what Black excellence is to you, or define it.
Okay. I would say what Black excellence is to me is great intellect. Just having a higher thinking of ourselves and just our whole being, but also too within that carrying ourselves within a certain way. Having that class, almost like how we had it with the Harlem Renaissance. Like just kind of having that, celebrating our Blackness, but having that suave and that classiness to it as well at the same time. Still, like I said, still having that intellect, because at the same time, I understand as our culture, like we do have to have that balance, because it's like at the same time I like to be righteous. I like to have that ratchetness with it too.
Right.
It's like how I even explain myself is I'm the type to smoke a blunt in a suit. You know what I'm saying? The two
that's how you're supposed to do. I don't know. Like,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't understand what's wrong with it.
Yeah, and so it's like I feel like just having that balance of let's let's be educated, let's be mindful, but also too, of course, let's have the fun with it as well. And so I would say there's not necessarily a box that is really put in when it comes to Black excellence, but really just carrying ourselves with a higher respect, but also having that love for each other, because I feel like that's one of the main points of Black excellence. We gotta connect with each other more.
Right.
And because I feel like a lot of times when a lot of us say that we are pro-Black, I don't think we even fully understand our definition of it, because I feel like everybody has a different definition when it comes to pro-Black.
Right.
And I feel like a lot of people are more pro-Black people that I know, pro-Black people that are in my family.
Right.
Outside of
Pro-Black
them,
with
I
the
don't care
limitation.
about these things.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Because it's like, my thing is, if you can't treat another Black person who you don't know at all
Right.
with the same type of respect that you treat somebody that you know, then you're not pro-Black. You pro who you know.
Right.
That's Black at the end of the day. Because if you can't care about the next man, like I said, that or the next woman that's Black, without knowing them at all, or without them giving you any type of benefit from knowing them or not knowing them, can you truly call yourself pro-Black? Because end of the day, it's just about being about your people. And it's not to say that you just going around lollygagging, nice with everybody, and you buddy with everybody just because they Black. But I'm just talking about a lot of times what I see is we all off default have disregard for our own people.
Right.
Like we won't even have open arms or whatever from the get-go, just off for not knowing somebody. Like our first attitude is, I don't know that nigga, so I don't care.
Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying?
Right.
So
Right.
like that's
Being in
one
that
of the
space
things I would say.
Dope. I was gonna say it's kind of like being in the space where we're all in a collaborative effort of uplifting each other. You know, if you see somebody that is in a position that is working, that is trying, that is putting in their effort, you know, don't dismiss them just because you don't know them. You know, when if we do it right, we can all eat together. But if we continue to just look out for who is rocking with us, and at the same time you mess with, you want to collaborate or work with who's working with you, but it's not limited to just work with who's working with you. You're willing to work with who's working with them, and work with whoever's working with that person there after them, you know, and whoever, just seeing it as a connection and a tribe, as opposed to one specific individual. So that makes sense. Dope. And you said that you want to convey Black excellence in your legacy work.
Yep. And also just keeping the whole as far as music goes, keeping the whole melodic thing alive, and the whole just thing of music being musical, because
Right.
that's something else I want to keep to the forefront, is that being melodic and being musical still matters. Like you can still have a whole band of instruments and everything like that. Like I rock with my trap beats, but we can't get so far in the trap beats that we get away from all the other instruments and stuff like that, and the instrumentation of music, because that's just the type of music that I come from really enjoying. And just coming from that church background, you get used to all the instruments and the melodies and the real singing and stuff like that. So it's like that's something else that I want to leave behind, just keeping the musicality into music and whatnot. And I would say lastly, um lastly, I want to leave behind a legacy that other young men, not only just other young Black men, but other young men can look up to and actually be able to follow. And it's not to say that I'm gonna be the most clean cut or the most perfect person, nothing like that, but just give them something to look up to and say, that's at least the type of direction of type of man that I want to be, or something like that. So yeah.
That makes sense. That's what's up. And what is your definition of wealth?
My definition of wealth, a couple of things. I would say having a wealthy intellect,
Right.
As far as the things that you think about, the things that you talk about, um, having wealthy company, and that doesn't necessarily mean um, bank account. It could mean bank account. I'm definitely not
Right.
exiting it out, but
Right.
when I say wealthy company, pretty much people who have good energy on them, who can pour energy into them. You can pour energy um, back into them as well as they can pour it into you. Uh, that's what I would say as far as wealthy company. I would say just wealthy lifestyle as far as taking care of yourself, making sure you feeding yourself the right, not only just the right foods, but the right type of content, stuff that you're taking in every day, because everything that you take in, from your entertainment to your food to whatever you see in your surrounding, is it's all being fed into
Right.
your inside.
Consumption. Right.
Right, exactly. So yeah, I would say wealthy lifestyle is just, like I said, taking care of yourself, making sure you bringing in the right content, and then also too, when it comes to the finances, making sure that you stand on your purpose, stand focused, and building it wealth. So yeah, that's my definitions.
Dope, dope, dope. Well, Smokey Vintage, I appreciate you, man, for coming to Wealth Talk TV. You giving a lot of insight, a lot of valuable information, especially when it comes down to like your overall journey with this indie process. I know you've been doing work for a while, and definitely proud of the work that you've done
Mm-hmm.
this for. And I look forward to seeing how much further you go
Appreciate it.
on. We're gonna throw up the wealthy symbol, and we out, man. I'm gonna hit you up after this. All right,
Dirty secrets.
All right, cool.
cool.